Hello. Today we're going to talk about how to improve sleep. We're going to start with an experiential exercise that you can do to briefly rest throughout the day, but it's especially useful at night when you get into bed. Or as we'll talk about later, if you can sit in a chair and do this and then continue the exercise as you get into bed, that's really optimal. So sitting back as comfortably as you're able to get in this chair. You might slide slightly forward so that your back is resting against the chair. And it's useful if your eyes actually can close either now or eventually. If you want to keep your eyes open for now, then at least look downward. Squeeze your hands, raise your shoulders, squeeze your eyes, take a deep breath in, and then release. Release completely. Allow your eyes to rest as much as possible, your shoulders to release, your arms, your whole body relaxing your muscles, feeling the weight of your body settling down into the chair, or tonight the bed. As your body continues to settle into gravity, into the warmth and comfort of your chair or your bed, feel the way your body expands and releases effortlessly. The chest expanding and releasing, the rib cage opening and letting go, effortlessly and easily with each breath. Feel the weight of your legs sinking down into the floor. Try and relax your muscles as much as possible so that the bones of your legs can sink even further. Feel the muscles around your hip, pelvis, thighs, abdomen, lower back, all releasing. And the pelvis itself, all the pelvic organs relaxing. Feel the back muscles, chest muscles, shoulders and arms becoming softer, letting go. And the weight of your ribs and spine melting through the muscles to sink into gravity. And then finally feel the weight of your head. Let the forehead muscles relax, the cheek muscles relax, as if those muscles are warm honey flowing down, letting go. Your eyes relaxing, your jaw relaxing, the tongue relaxing. Even feel as if the brain can relax whatever tension it's holding, letting go. And as your body continues to let go, notice the air flowing in gently, effortlessly, into your nose, cool and smooth, and let it flow out, warmer and softer. Letting any tension flow out as well. It may help you to actually picture a color flowing in, a cool, smooth, fresh color, and then a warmer, softer color flowing out. and count 6 times that the breath flows in and out effortlessly, slowly. If you become distracted by thoughts or feelings, just notice that distraction, let it go, and return to counting these breaths flowing in and out. When you reach 6 breaths, place your hand on your chest. Feel the way your hand is rocked forward and back, effortlessly with the breath. And it may help you to imagine a cool color flowing in, a warm color flowing out. And without trying to breathe, just enjoying this gentle massage of the breath. Count 6 times that your chest expands and releases. And it can be helpful to especially let go at the end of the exhale, to release a little bit further. The breath coming in, the breath going out, and releasing a bit more. And then placing your hands on your lower abdomen, feeling the warmth of your belly blending in with the warmth of your hands. And let that warmth rock forward and back. Again, feeling as if the breath flows in, nose, chest, belly, gets warmed, and let that warmth flow out for 6 breaths. Releasing slightly more at the bottom of the exhale. And feel the breath in your back. First your lower back for 6 breaths. How the back expands against the chair or your bed. Releasing at the bottom of the exhale. And then your middle back for 6 breaths. And then your upper back for 6 breaths. And you can make this cycle as often as you like until you fall into a deep sleep. 6 breaths at your nose, chest, abdomen, lower back, upper back, middle back. Making that circle several times. If you lose your place, start over at your nose. Welcome. We're going to learn about different types of sleep and causes of sleep problems. Help you learn skills to help you sleep deeper and wake with more energy and more alertness. We will also find ways to make this relevant to your particular lifestyle and situation. If you suffer sleep problems, you're not alone. 50% of people periodically suffer from insomnia. 90% of the population has sleep trouble at some part of their lives, and virtually 100% of people with PTSD, pain, and other physical and psychological issues have difficulty sleeping. For military veterans, this happens often during and after deployment, and when making adjustments to civilian lifestyle. But sleep problems arise for most people during times of stress and change. Lack of sleep can make it much more difficult to focus, more difficult to remember, and have a good sense of judgment. It can also lead to irritability, less energy, worse pain, worse immune functioning, and make you generally not want to be very active at work, have general lethargy, and avoid more than you might otherwise avoid activities like going out with friends, exercise, etc. It can also make symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and anxiety seem much, much worse. The good news is that people, even with long-term insomnia, can sleep better and feel better in just a few months. Those with short-term sleep disturbance that comes and goes can feel better in just a few weeks. But no matter how long you've suffered from insomnia, it takes a strong commitment and effort to overcome sleep problems. Sometimes there's trouble falling asleep, others have trouble staying asleep, and others wake early. Some people sleep throughout the night, but it's often shallow and they wake feeling tired. Most problems with sleep are a combination of these different types of factors. What we call primary insomnia usually has been initially due to some identifiable cause in the past, but eventually it develops a life of its own. It may be currently with or without any medical or psychological cause, or it may be genetically predisposed. Temporary insomnia is due to temporary causes. External factors such as things going on with work or relationship stress, finances, young children waking up, or internal factors such as schedule changes, recreational substance use, or internal stimulation that occurs with PTSD can all contribute to sleep problems. To correct these problems requires looking at both the cause and the resulting type of insomnia. Chronic insomnia can also be due to other things as well, such as medical factors like sleep apnea, where perhaps there's a blockage to the air in one's throat due to physical formation of the nose and throat or being overweight. Sometimes having a lot of mucus because of diet or other things can cause airway distractions. And many have restless leg syndrome, hormone imbalance, or perhaps menopause, which is very common to experience insomnia, or even problems with thyroid disorders. It could be due to PTSD, depression, anxiety, traumatic brain injury, etc. It's extremely important to get the right doctor, a specialist in sleep and sleep behavior, to rule out a medical problem. Primary care doctors know about these problems and can refer you to a sleep specialist. Let's talk about normal sleep first. Neuroscientists know that different states of consciousness or attention correspond to different G wavelengths during sleep. Beta is what we normally have during the day, at work or at school when we're focusing. When we're especially involved in a lot of focused mental effort, that we call beta EEG, quality of consciousness. And that occurs when we're probing or perhaps engaged in strong mental work for a long period of time. The longer we stay in beta, the more we need to recuperate in a less vigilant or focused state of consciousness, that is to say, a lower wavelength. Alpha EEG wavelength is a great recuperative state. If we can shift into this alpha state through doing some sort of relaxation or meditation exercises, like what we've been doing at the beginning and end of every class, this helps us prepare for healthy sleep. It can help to just watch and observe a sunset, coach in a regatta, a movie, or anything where we no longer need to stay vigilant and sustain focused effort. To recuperate into an alpha state is very, very beneficial. We transition into a theta EEG state when we take a short, brief rest for a few minutes, or perhaps close our eyes, let ourselves daydream, or when we lay down to transition into sleep. When we lay down, we are still conscious, and then hopefully at some point we're not conscious anymore and we're in a deep sleep. But somewhere between conscious and unconscious, we go through this theta stage where we let go of focus, let go of effort, let go of awareness of our surroundings, and we start to drift. This is a very important state to allow ourselves to get into. If you have PTSD, it's sometimes frightening to let yourself drift into this theta state, because that's where we think flashbacks and memories might occur. If you have an anxiety disorder, even depression, sometimes you might fear that letting yourself drift into this state will just bring back unwanted worries or thoughts. But it's critical to be able to go into a theta state, to be able to go into a deep sleep. So it's important to use the techniques that we've been doing to allow yourself to focus on your breathing, the warmth of your body, the way your body expands and releases when thoughts come up, noticing them, and then letting them go, and come back to this comfortable, soothing breath, noticing the warmth of the bed, the way the air flows in and out. And this can transition you into a deeper sleep that we call delta, which is a deep restorative sleep where you can let go of any mental effort or attention. Too much beta is associated with stress and lack of creativity and enjoyment. Too much alpha can sometimes be associated with lack of manifesting and acting. Too much theta is associated with just spacing out. And of course, too much delta would be sleeping all the time. But we need regular delta stage sleep in order to recover from psychological distress, to recover from pain, and to recover from typical stresses of the day. So we need to be able to transition between all these EEG states. Normally, we flow through beta, alpha, theta throughout the day. All these states are needed for normal functioning, depending on what we're dealing with. A healthy person spends about equal time in each of these different types of EEG states throughout the day. As we mentioned, too much beta is associated with stress and a lack of creativity and enjoyment. Too much theta can be associated with daydreaming and not being able to act on one's thought, to manifest what one's ideas are. And when it's uncomfortable daydreaming, that's where anxiety comes in and pushes us back into a beta state. So it's important to be able to transition through these easily. and the exercises we've been doing can be very helpful with going from beta to alpha, alpha to theta, and then eventually theta to deep stage delta. There are 4 stages of sleep. We go through these distinct stages of sleep several times a night during normal sleep. These are called stages 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's also called non-REM sleep, REM. Delta occurs at the deepest level, stages 3 and 4. Normally, we cycle through all 4 stages over about a 90-minute period of time. And we have 4 or 5 of these completely distinct 90-minute sleep cycles every night. You can see in the graphic that we go to bed when we're in a beta or alpha stage. Then we start transitioning down to delta sleep by going through a kind of spaced out, letting go, daydreaming, theta state. After about an hour, we begin to drift back up to lighter sleep and enter into REM, or rapid eye movement, which occurs when we're coming back up toward stage 1. And those are the dreams we usually remember. REM is very useful because our body gets kind of paralyzed to allow us to have a deep relaxation and not thrash around when we're dreaming. But then after a few minutes, we drop back down through stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back up 3, 2, 1 with rapid eye movement. And we go through these 90-minute sleep cycles several times a night. We have trouble falling asleep if we have too much beta. If we can't let go of our focus and concentration, or if we're reading, watching TV, then we might get stuck in alpha, which is a calm alertness, but doesn't allow us to drift down into a necessary recuperative sleep. And that's common in what we call primary insomnia. We're calm, we're not particularly stressed, just alert, can't sleep. But whether you're stuck in beta or alpha, it's important to shift into a theta state, to let go of thought, to let go of distractions. That's why the meditations we've been practicing are so useful to help with sleep. If you have trouble staying asleep or waking up early, that's usually because you're not dropping down into stage 3 or 4 delta stage sleep. There could be distractions in the environment, such as a bed partner moving. It could be too hot. You might need to get up and urinate. You could have a restless leg syndrome, or you might be under a lot of stress, and even though you could be wiped out and go to sleep initially, those stresses can keep you activated, keep you into a light stage sleep. Light sleep could also be due to medications. There are certain medications or substances that restrict deep sleep, such as antihistamines like Benadryl or NyQuil, for example. These can knock you out into stage 1 or 2 sleep, but unfortunately they limit and restrict deep delta sleep. Opiates for pain can also knock you out or get you drowsy, but it restricts deep sleep, as does alcohol, and you wake feeling not very refreshed. You might feel like, I was asleep, but I just don't feel like I got much rest. Alcohol is even worse, because although it might knock you out initially, after a few hours, often in the middle of the night, the effects of alcohol wear off, and you can have a rebound where you're even more energetic, you're wide awake, alert. Some anti-anxiety medications as well, tranquilizers, can also knock you out initially or make you drowsy, but doesn't allow for the deep structured sleep that we need. Sometimes you don't know you're having trouble with these sleep issues, but you wake drowsy very often. A good night's sleep, where you are going through 90-minute sleep cycles several times a night, should allow you to wake feeling refreshed, alert, and ready to move. If not, something's wrong. It's extremely important to do whatever it takes to correct these sleep problems. If you're having trouble with sleep, then your mind will race. and you won't have much control over intrusive thoughts or feelings. With poor sleep, it's hard to cope with pain. It's hard to cope with stress. And you can have lower mood as well. You get short with people. Energy is generally low. Appetite's bad. Changing this takes a lot of motivation, a lot of commitment, and a lot of work. But once you accomplish it, you'll feel much better, and the quality of life will be greatly improved. So number one, you have to be willing to do whatever it takes. At night, it's important to let go of your vigilant awareness. Let go of worrying about what happened in the past or what's going to happen in the future. It's also important to let go of one's needs to remain in control. You have to be willing to let go and trust whatever happens when you fall asleep is going to be okay. In fact, the truth is it's going to be healthier and better for you if you can let go and trust that the normal processes that should occur will occur. And that's the best thing that can happen. So here's a list of what to do and what not to do, what we call sleep hygiene. Later, we'll do a little checklist to see what you're doing now and what you're willing to do and able to do to improve the situation. But for now, let's go through this list. It's important to stop working and relax at least an hour before going to bed. That means both physically and mentally. Stop thinking of problems. Stop worrying about issues. It's essential to go to bed and wake up at the same time every night as much as possible. Every time you get away from that, it's going to be harder to recover a good, healthy night of sleep. It's important to do one of these relaxation exercises that we've been doing, especially before getting into bed, and continue to focus on your breathing rather than your thoughts when you get into bed. Use bed for sleep and sex, and that's all. Not for reading, not for writing, not for watching TV. Condition yourself that when you get into bed, you'll fall asleep. Have a comfortable, dark environment. If you have an important thought that you can act on in the morning, write it down on a pad of paper that you keep near your bed for such emergencies. But don't keep them going around in your mind. And this is very important. First, when you get into bed, do a relaxation exercise in the bed. If you're still awake after 20 minutes, get up and out of bed and do something active in a different room, such as reading, or dishes, or folding the clothes. Try not to watch TV, which will keep you in that alpha state, and so it keeps you up longer than if you did some active task that's kind of mindless before you get into bed. Then when you feel tired, do your relaxation exercise in the chair for a few minutes, and then get into bed and continue to do that relaxation exercise. Repeat this as often as you need to, but never stay in bed for more than 20 minutes while you're awake, or you'll condition yourself to be awake in bed. Equally important is what not to do. Don't take naps during the day. It might be rough during the first few days, but it'll pay off. Don't drink caffeine at all if you have insomnia or sleep problems, but especially not in the afternoon or later. You might think that caffeine has no effect on you, but it does. It affects your nervous system, it affects your brain. Don't drink alcohol 3 hours before going to bed. Alcohol causes a rebound effect. It limits going to a deep delta sleep, so it might get you to sleep faster, knock you out to a light sleep initially, but it typically wakes you up several hours later, or at least puts you into a lighter sleep. Don't read, watch TV, do work, argue, or do anything else in bed. Don't exercise within 3 hours of going to bed if you have insomnia. If you have no sleep problems at all, and you're used to exercising at night, that's fine. But for people who do have sleep problems, it's better not to exercise because that could get the adrenaline flowing. Don't eat spicy food, especially at night. And above all, don't worry. It only makes things worse. There are other things on the to-do list and the not to-do list. We talked about certain medications that restrict deep stage sleep, including opiates, tranquilizers, antihistamines, alcohol, caffeine, energy drinks. If you're on prescription medicines like this and it's interfering with your sleep, talk to your doctor if you're prescribed one, and let your doctor know about the sleep problems you're having and try to work something out. There's lots of good alternatives. There are medications that actually do allow for delta sleep. So talk to your doctors about other medications that might be helpful for you, and use self-help methods so you don't need to use medications more than necessary. Now let's turn to how you control your attention while you're in bed. Once you take care of not doing the bad things we talked about and are doing the good things we talked about in terms of sleep hygiene, what remains is that if you're still having difficulty, you need to get better attentional control. As we spoke about earlier, you need to have control over what you're paying attention to. Learn to pay attention to what is healthy and natural, and ignore what makes you not sleep well. Worrying without the ability to act on problems and improve those problems just makes it worse. If you're lying in bed worrying about something and there's nothing you can do about that, then worrying about it will just activate your body and your brain and only make it worse. It's better to switch your attention to what you can control, such as counting 6 breaths at your nose, 6 breaths at your chest, 6 breaths at your belly, your lower back, your middle back, your upper back. Make that circle several times. Feel the warmth of your body lying in bed. Feel the comfort of the sheets or blankets against you, the way your body expands and releases naturally. These types of activities shift your attention away from the distressing thoughts or feelings, help you transition into theta and eventually into a delta deep stage of sleep. What also helps is having a regular lifestyle. We talked about regular sleep patterns, going to bed and waking up at the same time. Regular moderate exercise is excellent as well. At least 20 minutes of an activity like exercise that causes you to perspire all over your body is extremely healthy for you, and research shows it can help you recover deep sleep. It may not be that night or even that week, but over the weeks, regular daily exercise is one of the best things you can do to recover deep sleep. Regular healthy eating, non-fatty, non-sweet, non-caffeinated, and non-excessive meals, including a healthy breakfast, is very important to having healthy sleep patterns as well. And also, don't eat dinner too late. It's not good to eat a lot just before bed. Regular recuperation can be also very important. Spend as much time every day in alpha and theta as you do in beta to let go of that state of arousal and focus. If you spend 8 hours of actual focused effort at work, that would be fine. But the rest of the day, spend as much time as you do on beta, but spend it on alpha activities, such as relaxation and meditation that we've been doing, or music, art, exercise, watching sunsets, engaging in theta activities like reading, remembering pleasant experiences, self-hypnosis, listening to music, drifting off into a pleasant daydream. You can take 5-minute mini relaxation breaks during the day. When you first wake up, practice doing the attentional control exercises. Or sit in your car before going to work to calm your mind, focus on your breathing and staying in the moment. You can do this before lunch, before you go into your house after work, before dinner, before bed. These 5-minute mini breaks can really start to train your nervous system to let go of the stress and recover that calm, soothing balance. We're going to do some exercises now. If you have some paper, you can get out your sheets and do these exercises. If you don't have paper, you can just mentally imagine them. I'd like you to check off on these to-do and not-to-do lists that we looked at earlier. Looking at the not-to-do list, Which of these things are you doing right now? What problems do you have now that are contributing to your difficulties with sleep? Take a minute or two to go down that what not to do list. Think of what you actually need to check off to eliminate. Now look at the what to do list. Check the things that you think you can incorporate into your life that you're not currently doing that will help you. Finally, I'd like you to think of what's going to sabotage your ability to do these healthy activities and eliminate the unhealthy activities. What might happen externally that will make it difficult for you to engage in these healthy activities? And what might happen internally? What thoughts or feelings or things like addiction to caffeine, or pain, what have you, might sabotage your ability to implement these healthy changes? And then think of also what you're going to do to overcome these barriers and implement these changes in the context of your life in a way that will work for you and allow you to have the quality of sleep that you deserve and that will help your overall quality of life. Every night, it's extremely useful to sit in a chair for 5 or 10 minutes before getting into bed. Or even sitting in your bed up against the wall. With your hands, one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. Letting your eyes looking downward, or perhaps even closing. They'll close eventually. Feeling your body settling into the bed or into the chair. If your mind's really racing and it's hard for you to stay focused, it's hard for you to settle down, then squeeze your fists, squeeze your shoulders, squeeze your eyes as you inhale, and as you exhale, completely relax. Do this again. As you inhale, squeeze your fists, shoulders, eyes, and as you exhale, completely relax. And let the breath go out a little bit further. Do this 6 times. Wait till the breath comes in, squeeze, following that breath up. And when the breath releases, let it go. Let all the muscles relax even further. Every inhale, squeezing tight. Every exhale, releasing further. And after 6 breaths, let your body continue to relax as you're aware of the breath flowing into your nose and out from your nose for 6 breaths. If your mind gets distracted by thoughts, notice that. Let those go, or just let them be there off in the distance as you bring your attention back to noticing this breath flowing in and out effortlessly. And be aware of the chest expanding 6 times. And you don't have to try and breathe. Instead, let the breath breathe you. And at the bottom of the exhale, release a little bit further. Then be aware of the warmth in your belly, blending with the warmth of your hand on your belly. Feel that warmth rocking forward and back with each breath, allowing the cool air to come down into your belly, getting warmed and flowing out. After 6 of those breaths, feel your lower back expanding into the chair and releasing from it for 6 breaths. The lungs are round, and you can allow the breath to flow into the bottom of the lungs, expanding your lower back into the chair and releasing from it, and releasing even more. And then feeling your middle back effortlessly pressing into the chair or bed and releasing from it for 6 breaths. It's natural that thoughts or feelings will come and intrude into your awareness. When that happens, just let them continue to pass through without holding on to them, without pursuing them or pushing them away. Just let them go on their own. They can be there, but you don't need to pay attention to them. You can pay attention to the breath expanding into your upper back and releasing from your upper back for 6 breaths. And you can make this cycle over and over. If you find yourself lying in bed for more than 20 minutes doing this, it's better to get up and out of bed. Do some simple visual motor activity like washing the dishes, folding the clothes, doing something soothing and calming. Then, when you're ready, go back, sit up again, do this cycle, and then lie back down in your bed and continue to do this cycle of 6 breaths at each of these 6 locations.